too hot for this. Yep. Taking L's, boys. Taking friggin' L's, y'all. You guys are probably wondering what happened to this thing. A few of you guys heard what I heard in the startup video. Heard some like ticking, tapping, and stuff like that. Long story short, motor had to come out. We had to rip out the motor again, you guys. Rip this all the way out, smooth out after we got everything done. At least we'd like to think it was done. But lesson learned. I've done tons of these, guys, tons of these swabs, and it's just one of those freakiest mistakes that I did on my part. But it's hard to also pinpoint if that was the real cause of it, because the previous engine builder put this motor together. What ended up happening is, like I said on that startup video, I wasn't sure what was going on. We had a really loud tick up top, a lot of metal on metal basically kind of going on. It felt like we had low oil pressure, about a 20 psi, 20-25. I didn't like it. Obviously the oil pressure would come back up when the engine idle came up, right, naturally. But what happened is, when I put that oil pan on, and I've done tons of these, but it's just a freakish mistake, guys, the O-ring on the pickup tube slash pump was crushed. I know, my heart is crushed just thinking about it. So come to find out, I didn't like that. And then we found some little small metal shavings in the oil pan as well. So that's when I said, you know what, we're gonna take the motor out, take it to Manny, and have him go through it. And at the end of the day, he said it looked like the cam bearings were scored. They seemed to be damaged. They could have been damaged prior to the motor even starting, he said. It's really hard to pinpoint. They look kind of scarred. They could have been damaged on install. They could have been damaged on the install of the cam as well. But it's kind of one of those things where it's almost like a freak, all these different events, including obviously the oil pickup tube seal not going on correctly. It's hard to say what caused it. So it could have been prior to the motor even ever starting up, or the oil pressure also could have done it in as well. So it's hard to say. I don't know what the exact cause of it. We really don't know. It's hard to say, like I said. But at the end of the day, I couldn't let this car leave like that. Whether it was my fault or not, obviously the pickup tube was my fault for sure. And I took it upon myself to just have the motor re-gone through once again, complete from top to bottom. We pulled everything apart, guys. Manny did his thing. We got new cam bearings in it as well, all freshened up, all new gaskets, everything, you guys. So I wanted to make sure this motor was 100%. Now that we know it's 100%, we shouldn't have no issues. But yeah, man, appreciate it to Manny, you guys. That boy LS Manny came through, hooking this thing up, so this thing should be no problem. He also primed the engine as well. That was another thing. The motor was not primed prior to install. But you guys, I mean, take it from me, learn this lesson. Had to come out of pocket. Long story short, get this thing fixed, get this thing right, because like I said, I couldn't do it. I couldn't just let this car leave the way it was and not be 100%. And we had to make it right. We got to get him right, get him on the road. As you guys can see, I got the motor back 2 days ago. I already got it in, dropped in, bolted back to the tranny and everything else like that. Tranny's all mounted back up. Just got to finish the exhaust side underneath. I've already started wiring the starter. Everything's good to go there. I got to put the intake back on, obviously, accessories, everything. And then also we still got to get it tuned back. So this actually all happened right before Holly LS Fest. Believe it or not, it was the same week. Within trying to work on the Frankenstein and this, trying to get them both there, it didn't make it. Long story short, because I just couldn't, I wasn't just gonna push it there and look pretty. I wanted this thing right. So we pulled the motor out that same week, couldn't get it back in time, long story short. But hey, we're getting it right now. you guys, I wanted to let you guys know what was going on with that, because like I said, we're not perfect. No one's perfect, not including me. And there was no way I was gonna let this car leave like that. It's just, I seen it happen too many times to everybody, and I was not about to do that. So we got to get him right, get him dialed in, get this thing 100%, 110%, I should say. But you guys, big thing, just take from me, man, is just when you did oil pickup too, make sure that O-ring is not crushed, you guys. As soon as you see that oil pressure drop, turn the car off, double check, triple check everything, even if you got to pull the motor out like I did. So once again, we're gonna get this thing right. I'm gonna keep putting it back together real quick, get this thing assembled. But I just want to let you guys know what was going on with the 72 project. Didn't forget about it. But I think I should have this thing back together within the next day and a half. And then just depending on Getty, if we can get this thing tuned and dialed in, it should be going home. So stay tuned, guys. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And just remember, if you're taking L's, take it as a lesson, man. And stay wrenching.